your tribe's little, like, your tribe took place in it. He's just like, what do you mean? It's like, and I was just like, you guys still play.
You guys were there. So,
yeah, you guys were there.
You started it. Way. Good old JC. Good old JC ended it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Fun chat, but let's get into this MMA talk, man. We got a lot to recap.
Oh man, what a great card.
Yeah, UFC 287. Was it? I mean, 287? No, am I getting that wrong? Oh, my fucking secondary screen is frozen. Hate it when this happens. Give me a sec. But we've got a lot. We've got a lot to recap from that card, and we have a Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen fight to break down too, which man, this fight really snuck up on me. I knew it was booked, but it's kind of one of those deals where I just haven't been paying attention to the upcoming card.
Azamat Murzakanov.
I knew you would.
I love Max Holloway. Arnold Allen, hopefully your hands don't break, but Azamat Murzakanov is revving my engine right now.
Yes.
And, yeah, I've been waiting for this to watch this guy fight for a long. I feel like this is my Passover here.
Your Passover.
I'm gonna be breaking some matzah bread for this one.
Yeah, Azamat Murzakanov earned he earned a nomination for Knockout of the Year for his knockout over, I think it was Tafon Nchukwi. That was 1 year ago. And since then, he's also rattled off another KO win over Devin Clark. And he's improved to 12-0, the professional 12-0 at light heavyweight.
Is not fucking around, dude. Also, how the fuck does Ion Cutelaba get on the main card, but fucking Brandon Royval and is it Matthias Nicolau? Your prelims. It's like, dude, no.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
That really made me mad, dude.
Yeah, and then not only that too, Ion Cutelaba fighting Tanner Boser coming down from heavyweight, which is just an experiment. And I mean, I'm kind of curious to see what Tanner Boser looks like, because he did always kind of seem like I guess I could say, it feels weird saying this, but one of the more athletically gifted heavyweights, just in terms of how nimble he was. He was like a smaller, quick heavyweight. I think there's actually a good chance that he fucks up Ion Cutelaba, but then Ion might just mysteriously become fucking he might become wrestler Ion Cutelaba. I don't even want to predict Cutelaba fights anymore, man.
Like I can see Royval being like he's a hit and miss kind of guy, but when he hits, and it's impressive. And Nicolau is a really good fighter. These guys have experience and giving good looks to guys like Pantoja and guys in that division that are very good.
Yes.
So it's just I don't understand it. I just don't. And Bill Algio's good. Why is he on the prelims and why is he on Cutelaba? It just doesn't make sense to me. But I don't know.
What do you think about this main event? Let's go ahead and do this first before we recap 287. Yeah, because
there's going to be we're going to have to give ourselves a little bit of time. I think Max kind of runs away and hides in this one.
Interesting.
I think, yeah. I like Allen a lot, though. So Arnold Allen, correct?
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep thinking
Brendan.
I get him and Brendan Allen mixed up, but Arnold Allen's very good. Very world class, absolutely top of the food chain fighter. But I just think Max is just so much higher. He's like second, third, fourth, and fifth. You know what I'm saying? Kind of in that division.
Yeah.
And I feel like everyone else is kind of like fifth and down. But it's going to be interesting. I feel like it's really going to be like a where is Max? What's going on here? Because,
I was going to ask about that, because do you kind of feel, I mean, it's kind of tough. Max is 2-3 in his last 5 fights, but 3 of those were Alexander Volkanovski.
Yeah.
So it's hard to judge, but do you feel like based off of his most recent outing against Alexander, it feels kind of weird just calling him Alexander, let's say against Volk, he got, I don't want to say steamrolled, it was a decision, but it was just so much more thoroughly of a one-sided beatdown compared to his previous two. Do you feel like we might have watched Max begin to lose his step there, or do you think that was just Volk elevating or leveling up his game that by that much?
I think this fight's really going to show us what that was, and I just have faith that Max is mentally so far ahead of not just the guys in this division, but the guys in the UFC. Period. So I think he's like an uncrowned type champion, Yeah. There's very few guys like that in MMA right now. Very few guys like him, mentality wise, and the mentality and talent that he has, and then the ability to put that into strategy and just slow down the fight. There's just no one really like that, and I'm just not sure Arnold Allen's ready for. He's definitely talent wise ready. I just don't think mentally. I just don't think mentally going up against a guy that can kind of put you through the ringer psychologically and doing all the things that he does, because it's not just that the guys that he's fought, the up and comers that he's fought that comes up, that it's not like he's squeezing them out and kind of just barely beating these guys. He's beating the fucking brakes off of like the 2, the 3, the number 1 contenders, and he's beating the shit out of them.
Yeah, it's what he makes them look like. He turns them into. He makes them look like amateurs again. When we're looking at these guys going into their fights with Max and thinking like, oh, this guy passes the eye test. He's the next thing, and then he'll just make them look like they are fucking white belts. You're not even close. And so what I'm kind of resting on is, even if there is a lost step with Max, even if he is maybe at an 85%, a 90% of what he was, that I think that version is still significantly better than Arnold Allen. Yeah.
But,
And like you mentioned, Arnold Allen, super talented guy, really well rounded, packs a lot of power in his hands. He's a finisher. Lacks the signature win, sort of. If you're kind of looking at his record, his best win, in my opinion, looking at his record, is Calvin Kattar, and that was off of an injury because Calvin Kattar threw that really weird knee and landed wrong. So that wasn't even necessarily. Arnold Allen was awarded the win, and I'm looking at it, and it was 8 seconds. So that wasn't even a fight there. There's nothing that we could even draw from that. He has his win over Dan Hooker, which I think at the time a lot of people might have considered his signature win back in 2002. Also, not very active at all. He fought.
He's hurt a lot. He has like baby hands, right, or something like that. Like his hands are just always broken.
I'm not super caught up on what his ailments are, but yeah, he fought twice in 2002. He's fought once in 2001 against Sadiq Youssef, once in 2020 against Nick Lentz, Gilbert Melendez in 2019. So not as active as you'd like to see a prospect, especially in the featherweight division, where in the lighter weight classes, we tend to see these guys get busier and fight more often, especially as they're ascending the division. But definitely a big divide in terms of the competition that they faced. Versus the guys I named off, and then you look over at Max Holloway's list of victims, and not even mentioning the Volkanovski fights because he lost all of those, but Yair Reyes, that guy's about to challenge for the featherweight title against Volkanovski. Calvin Kattar, where there was no mistake, there was no crazy freak injury there. He beat the brakes off of Calvin Kattar.
That was scary. Yeah. That was a very, very scary one. What he did to Ortega was extremely scary. I don't think
was showing Ortega how to box in the middle of the fight. He's like, hey dude, why don't you pick this up right here so that when I hit you with this, like
dude, Ortega has not been the same since then. I will say that he has just not. That was just like, this is that.
Completely agree. Yeah. Two very impressive wins over Aldo, Anthony Pettis. The list goes on. Charles Oliveira. It's fucking crazy, man.
It's crazy, dude. And I would give a decision over Sadiq Youssef. That would be a good. I would hang my hat on that. Me personally, if I was Arnold Allen, and say like, but I just think Sadiq is like very underrated and very under. No one really wants to fight Sadiq, so he doesn't have a signature win either to kind of like get over. So yeah. I mean, it's the easy pick. It's the bitch pick to make. I admit that, but I'm a big time Max Holloway fan. I mean, everybody is. I don't think there is anyone that's like, fuck that guy, dude. I don't. I've never heard anyone really. I would. You would probably have to be on some type of watch list if you said like, fuck Max Holloway. He's weird.
Yeah. To speak to Arnold Allen's strengths a little bit, I like his killer instinct. I like how he'll go for it. He throws heavy leather when he gets the sense that his opponent is hurt. It's so rare that we see Max Holloway hurt though. So, at what point are we going to see Arnold Allen really empty the clip on him and try and get him out of there, especially in a 5-round fight when he's going to be a little bit more cautious about just completely unloading and potentially gassing himself out unless he really knows he's going to be able to get a finish on Max Holloway, which is no easy feat. So I think for this one, we're probably in for the long haul too. I think Max Holloway takes him the distance, and I'm really curious to see what Arnold Allen looks like in that situation because, and I'll pull up his record right now, I'm not aware that Arnold Allen has ever gone the full 5 rounds. Let me see. Round 2, round 1. 3-5. 3-5. We might have to go back to like a win the regionals or something like that because as far as I can see, he's never fought 5 rounds. So that's also going to be a factor for him.
I think he fought Sadiq Youssef was a 5-rounder, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me take a look. It might have been, nope, 3 5-minute rounds. No? UFC on ABC 2. So he's gone the 3, and I mean I don't recall having necessarily seen him slow down or look like he has conditioning issues, but it's going to be tested here for sure. And also for as much heavy leather as he throws, and as much of a killer instinct that he has, and trying to get his opponents out of there when they're hurt, I feel like he kind of loses his composure a little bit. He becomes very predictable when he's in that kill mode, and suddenly it's just left right haymakers, and I think granted when your opponent is stunned and rocked, they're not necessarily in the best state of mind to be like, oh, you're throwing really predictable stuff right now. But I think against a boxer of Max Holloway's caliber, that might not be enough to get it done. And I mean, Max Holloway could also take him down too. I don't think that's what Max Holloway's coming in to do, but it's a curious one. I don't like this matchup though for what it means in the division. I wasn't crazy about when they booked it because if Max Holloway wins, which we're both kind of picking him to win here, I mean, what is he's just knocking off a contender? He's not. No one's going to be demanding to see him fight Volk a 4th time. This is a tough one. I kind of wish that they would have.
Lucky that Yair. But even Yair doesn't really have as much of a claim as Max. So it's like, goddamn.
Good point. Yeah. It's tough. And I'm looking at the UFC's official rankings right now, and it's Volk, of course, Yair being the interim, Max at number 2, well, number 3. I never liked how that works, how they're like champion 1, 2, 3. Just call the champion the number 1 guy. But anyways, I would have preferred if they had Arnold Allen maybe fight Brian Ortega. Granted, Ortega's not doing so well. He's like 1-3 in his last 4 fights also. But
he's had a pretty catastrophic injury too, correct?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. In that Yair fight, what was it? He blew out his shoulder or something. I don't recall exactly.
I thought he fumbled a baddie. I was talking about fumbling a baddie. But yeah, the shoulder sucks too.
The old emotional injury. And right now, I think this is just a fight to have a fight, I guess, because I mean they're also going to be. We know Ilia Topuria is booked against Josh Emmett, so they're really pushing that guy. That's the fight for him to kind of like make his mark.
He's the one. I think they're kind of like, you guys fuck around over here, and then we're gonna push Ilya. Hopefully, like if Ilya just fucking completely blows the brakes off of him, which I think
I think he's gonna destroy him.
Yeah. So then they're like, well, Emmett was right there for an interim belt, so she deserves it. You know what I mean? He's gonna jump the line. I think Topuria jumps the line. So.
I do too. How hot would you have been for a Topuria versus Arnold Allen fight instead of this Max Holloway fight? It's a tough one too, because it's like two fucking really white hot contenders, you know, and having to lose one. But I'd be way more interested in that fight, man. I mean, this isn't a bad fight on paper, but like that's yeah. What do you think? Sorry.
It's just like, let's kind of keep you guys busy, and it's a name like Holloway. Let's see what the fuck Max is up to, where Max is. I think Max is just going to be a money fighter until Volk, whatever the fuck happens with Volk. I do feel like Max is just a money fighter now. Which, I mean, there's worse things to be.
Oh, absolutely. But it's kind of a weird place to be to be a money fighter in a division where there's not really other money fighters, because then you just you know, like, because so I'd like to see some more crossover fights.
I mean, I do think that Connor year, like Connor could be there for him. I think he can maybe fight Chandler, guys like that. I think he could do that pretty easily.
We'll see how this one goes.
Who knows?
But yeah, we're both picking Holloway here.
He definitely didn't really have much for Dustin. That was a kind of a rough one to watch when he fought Poirier, right?
Yeah, that was the same night that that Kelvin Gastelum fought Israel Adesanya at middleweight.
Kelvin Gastelum made me cry this weekend, dude. But we'll get into that. But he made me cry.
We will get into that. I don't really have a whole lot. I wasn't really looking at any of the other fights on this card. And this is a Kansas City card.
I love watching Bill Algio. I do like him. Is it Groovy Lando Venata's on here?
Billy Quarantillo versus Edson Barboza is a really good co-main event. That's a solid one. I like Billy Q. But let's in terms
Edson
of like
is looking fucking jacked. Have you seen him lately?
I have not.
He looks amazing.
Edson. Let's go through. I don't necessarily
was he the guy we're making fun of for the mural that we said that it was probably like some type of drug dealer and they just wanted to cover it up and say it's Edson?
Yeah, I think it was him, now that you mentioned. I've totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Edison, god damn, I'm already fucking up it.
That pin got you in a chokehold. Goddamn, jumped right on top of you.
He looks to snap his 2-fight losing streak, those being against Bryce Mitchell and Giga Chikadze, and this fight with Billy Q. And this is going to be I think this has potential fight of the night written all over it. And I know that might sound like blasphemy on a card where you have Azamat Mirzakhanov, but I mean, Azamat's going to get it done fast.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you on being potential fight of the night. But I think Nicolau and Royval is the one that'll get it.
Yeah,
I just think it's the style matchup is what will do it.
Would you call that the sleeper fight of the night? Yeah, Brandon Royval's always super entertaining to watch. And I'm not going to give a breakdown of it, but I'm excited to see Bruna Brazil and Denise Gomez on the prelims. Bruna Brazil had a really fucking scary knockout over a girl named Marnik Man on Dana White's Contender Series, reminiscent of when Valentina Shevchenko.
Like Bruna? Jeez. That probably got Papa's ears going over there, man.
Really
Papa's ears perked up.
Really entertaining. Like I like her style. She's a Brazilian Muay Thai style striker, and
I like her laugh.
Marnik Man, she was drilling her to the midsection just over and over and over, and just super textbook. Like, yeah, I'm gonna keep kicking you in the ribs and lighting you up. And then she went high and it just deaded her, dude. She, like, left her cold. So I'm excited to see what she could do in this
talked about this
strawweight division.
We did talk about this fight. No,
I don't think so, because we've never talked about any Dana White's Contender Series fights, have we?
Bo Nickel.
Well, true.
We talked about, like, but I mean, everybody does. Yeah. Joe Pyfer.
Joe Pyfer. Let's do a rundown though, and just I'll name off the fights and we'll give our picks and we'll move on and we'll recap 287. Edson Barboza, Billy Quarantillo. I'm going Billy Q.
I'm gonna take Quarantillo.
Okay, cool. We're the same there.
Same.
Dustin Jacoby, Azamat Mirzakhanov. We're both going Mirzakhanov, I'm guessing.
Go ahead and yeah.
He won.
Who has the smaller load afterwards? I'm gonna say me. I haven't taken my magnesium. So
E1 Kutalaba versus Tanner Boser. I'm gonna be fucking cheeky and go Tanner Boser here.
I'm gonna go Tanner Boser too. I just don't like Kutalaba. So
cool. Bantamweight, Pedro Munoz versus Chris Gutierrez. I'll let you go first.
I'm going to take Munoz.
I'm
going to take Pedro Munoz.
I'll go Gutierrez.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Clay Guida versus Rafa Garcia. I hate picking Clay Guida fights.
I don't want to. I'm going to take Clay Guida. He's in Sacramento right now, I believe, or he like lives by my aunt, remember?
Yeah.
He's like pounding out some older lady.
Smashing on some lady who's
next to my aunt. He's smashing some old lady to get a room for free.
I'm going to go.
And then it was so funny because my aunt goes, my aunt, she says, the lady that lives across the street from me says that she's living with some carpenter. And I was just like, what the hell? He's a fighter. He runs every morning. And I was like, oh, okay.
Fun detail.
Yeah.
I'll dude, I'm looking at the age difference. Clay Guida is 41 and Rafa Garcia is 28. I'm going to go with Rafa Garcia, not because I don't think that Clay Guida and his newfound love for wrestling can't potentially get it done, but I just don't want to be that disrespectful to Rafa Garcia in this instance. So I'll go with Rafa Garcia.
Yeah, I'll take Clay Guida, but only because he's pounding out my aunt's neighbor. Respect.
Brandon Royval, Mateus Nicolau.
I'm gonna take Nicolau.
I'm gonna
take Nicolau.
I was also going to take Nicolau, but I like to be different. No, I'm going to take Mateus. I'm going to take Mateus Nicolau also.
Come on.
And the rest of them, we'll call it good on there. We'll leave the prelims. We'll let the prelims be what they're going to be. I'm not confident in any of the other picks there, except for maybe Bruna Brazil. All right. Let's move it on over to UFC 2.
I'll wait till next Tuesday for the Bruna Brazil breakdown. I will be all about that, dude. That's going to be my favorite part of the week.
Adesanya puts 3 imaginary arrows into the chest of a freshly knocked out Alex Pereira.
A 12-year-old boy.
He gets it done and is just as vicious as possible. Yeah, that's actually the most exciting part of it for me too. The fact that he did that. I didn't catch it live as the fight, wrapped up.
He's just unbelievable, dude. He's an unbelievable his
theatrics.
I can't even really. Yeah, it's just the character that he is unbelievable. It's just like I cannot listen to him talk, dude. Mm-hmm. I was like, I have to watch this post fight. I want to see what that must feel like. Hopefully, you can characterize it. And it's just like, nah, dude, you're just weird. You're weird as hell. Why are you talking about Dricus Duplessis? Like Dricus is like for all his faults, dude, he's got like Usman talking about him. He's got Adesanya talking about him. And it's just like, dang, good for you. Supposedly he can only breathe, he only has 3% use of his nose, like
8%, 8%. But his coach 8%. said that they just fixed that, so we might see a new mythical fighter, like fully 100% breathable nose DDP. But we'll get to Drigas in a little bit. Let's talk about how this fight went.
He's just so. Yeah, Adesanya is just so, it's just unbelievable cringe. And it's not like it's not Henry Cejudo cringe. It's a because he's trying to be that way and he thinks it's cool. And like some of the stuff he says, I've said things like that and I've felt that in my chest. I'm like, dude, what you just said is incredibly stupid and weird. And like I think it's like on a daily basis. Do you ever take a shower and then you're just like, oh my god, I cannot believe that I said that in 9th grade, dude? Like, and like I'm 37 and I'm like, golly, dude, I cannot believe I told this guy that. And I'm like trying to replay it, like I won't say that again. He says that every time he opens his mouth. The things that it's just like, what? You're so weird, dude. Nerd,
I think that he is. Who else? I think that he's. I think he's very. I think he's very authentic. Actually, it might be weird. I don't like anime. I'm not into that shit. Totally cool. I like that.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying he's being fake. I'm saying it's weird. It's authentically weird.
No, I get that. It's not your thing. I do like the sincerity thing though. I like the fact that I get the sense that is really him. Like, and for example, and I mean, there's a lot 100%. Of reasons to not like, and I'm going to use like the most extreme example, Colby Covington. Like, there's a lot of reasons to not like Colby Covington's act. What I hate most about it isn't his whole, I'm Donald Trump's favorite fighter or any of that shit. It's that he's not good at it. Yeah. It's that it feels so forced. And to me, that's more cringy in my opinion.
No, 100%. I will give you that. I will give you that 100%. But what I'm saying is,
give it to me, Brandon.
For me, it just doesn't ring. It doesn't ring true to me. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just like, if it's just weird. It's like when you're washing your hands and you're wearing a sweater and the fucking sleeve by your wrist is wet afterwards. It's like that feeling, like listening to him talk. It's like wet socks. You know what I mean? And you're like at work and your socks are just wet and you're just like, fuck, dude. Like, you can totally manage it. It's totally fine. But it's just like, this is going to suck for the next however long it takes to dry. You know? I just can't. I can't with this guy talking, man.
Do you have any appetite for the trilogy in MMA, or is this a kind of situation?
Yes, I do.
I'm glad you said that.
I do it's too. So funny. He's doing this thing. Like, I remember I used to play Madden with my friends, and I had this friend that whooped my fucking ass in Madden every time. He whooped my fucking ass, and then we got online. And we played online for the first time instead of like in person. He beat me once, and then I fucking beat him, and I just quit, and I never played him again. And like, I would just bring it up, like, I fucking beat you, dude. Like, I was last time I got you. He beat me like 80 times.
Dude, Rodell totally does that too. Rodell's exactly that guy. Rodell,
this wasn't him.
Will be all crazy about a game, and then like the moment you get even a little bit better at him at it, he doesn't want to play anymore. He's like,
yeah. No, and I played him. We played millions of times, but I beat him, and I was like, oh, that's it. Sorry. And then he would like always request me, or I'd be online and be like, nah, dude, playing FIFA. So can't. You want to play FIFA? Yeah.
Let's get into like the nuts and bolts of the actual fight a little bit, though. Kind of talk about how it went. We don't have to do like a fucking. I mean, who are we to give like a breakdown of this super high level kickboxing? You know,
fucking
But it was a little bit. I was rooting for Alex Pereira in this fight, and it was a little bit frustrating because he really looked like he had really done some damage to Adesanya's legs.
Loading on him in that sequence. He caved his legs in multiple times. I was like, dude, that leg kick is different. Like, that is crazy.
And it comes out of nowhere. He doesn't telegraph it at all.
And let's just say, I mean, I picked Adesanya to win, correct? Let's call it what it is.
I'm such a bad podcast producer host. I never remember what our picks are. I'm horrible about it. I don't write them down, and then you had him in like the third round, Pereira to win, right, or something like that. I don't remember. That's why I was about to say I picked Pereira, but I just said I was rooting for him because I don't remember if I picked him or if I agreed with you on Adesanya. I did. The third round. I did pick him because I remember thinking, I don't know if I could pick a guy who's already up 3 on somebody and then just like assume and be like, I think the other guy's going to get it done this time. So that was my reasoning.
He was getting the shit kicked out of him. So Adesanya was getting, if that was a miracle right hand, dude. That was like, a lot of people, because it came from Israel Adesanya's, it's like, nah, he totally, that was a looping ass, like, Hail Mary pass, dude. He was getting the break, that knee that landed on him, and then he was just like surgical. Yeah.
I really wish Pereira would have been a little bit more measured. I kind of would have liked to have seen how it would have turned out if he had recognized that the leg was as compromised as it was. Because in the post-fight, I know you said you tried to watch the post-fight scrum with Israel, but he said he had already fucked up my leg, and that's why he kind of baited him into putting his back on the cage and deciding to do a little bit of rope-a-dope, which is even crazier considering that's how he lost the previous fight. And watching that, and I thought Adesanya, I thought Pereira was about to get it done also, and that, like you were saying, that exchange when he was unloading on him, he was unloading everything, the full clip, the rib roaster, like right hand to the fucking midsection, followed by the knee that got in, but Adesanya just times it perfectly. I'd say this is pretty, I would have to go back and look at and glance at the other cards from this year, but I think this is our KO of the year so far. Do you? Yeah. I don't know that there's another.
Oh yeah, not really. Shit, dude. 2023. It's March. I can't really put. No, I mean, not out cold. No one that, cause he was like not doing very well on the ground there for a while. So
yeah, and I'm sure we could pull up like a.
I never thought Adesanya had power like that to take out a dude that much bigger than him. Like, what could he be doing?
It kind of makes me wonder too, like what was the deal with Adesanya coming like in his previous performances against this? Because like. I don't mean to fucking pour salt on an old wound, but the Jared Cannonier fight.
The Jared Cannonier fight,
like
the Yoel Romero.
The Yoel, Yoel I could at least understand because Yoel himself is incredibly dangerous. So I could see if he's like, okay, I'm gonna have to be careful with this guy because he could just explode on me with fucking Cuban roid power. But Jared Cannonier, when you see what he's able to do with Alex Pereira in this instance, like, dude, why can't you just go out there and obliterate Jared Cannonier? Like, what? Why are you playing it so safe? Yeah. And I know why he was playing it so safe, because Jared Cannonier could have taken him down and beaten him if he had just known what we know about him.
Never got up for Jared Cannonier outside control. Yeah. Cannonier would have had you inside control and you're not moving.
And but I agree with you though about the having an appetite for the trilogy. I'm very critical about a lot of the instant rematches that we've been seeing in MMA forever. It's not a new thing. A lot of times the matchmakers will just go with what's easy. We've already had these guys. We have all the promo. We have all the things that it makes the production team's job a lot easier to be like, yeah, we've already been marketing these guys. We have all the video packages. We have the narration. Like, we could totally just fucking run this again for a third time. I wouldn't mind seeing Adesanya move on and fight someone else like DDP if DDP racks up another win. another relevant win. But I think that right now is the time to do this trilogy, and I think they should just go ahead and do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, even if Adesanya's next fight isn't against Alex Pereira, I think Alex Pereira's next fight should be against Israel Adesanya. Like, even if they squeeze in another fight in there, if Pereira doesn't move up to 205 when he comes back, I think he should be fighting Adesanya again.
Yeah, he just. That's why you brought Pereira here, dude. Let's just call it what it is, Dana. Like, yeah, okay. You want him to get big. You want him to do 205. Fine. But there's a reason why the guy's in the fucking UFC, and you got to squeeze that orange out. And I like very few times. I agree with you. I just didn't have it in me for the Moreno Davison saga. It was cool. It made sense. Okay, but this one, I need to see this again.
Yeah.
And I mean, Adesanya can say what he wants. He hasn't beat this guy. He's this, but dude, he's beat you 3 times. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, sure, he hasn't beat Whitaker.
Yeah.
You know, he hasn't beat Kelvin Gastelum. He hasn't beat this guy, but he's beat you 3 times, bud. So what are you really saying?
Yeah. And it would be for all the marbles for sure. And I'm more excited about a third fight for them in MMA than I was about this rematch going into it. I mean, I was kind of in. Yes, I was cool with it. I was someone who was on the boat where I was like, Pereira, fuck it, just vacate, just move up right now, just move up and be like, fucking Jamal Hill, you beat my sensei, like Glover, I'm gonna get revenge, and just make the move then. And you got your 3 wins over Adesanya across 2 sports, but now that Adesanya, now that they're 1-1 in MMA, I'm like, fucking put this trilogy into my veins, dude.
And if it would have went the way I thought it was, where Adesanya just point fighted into a victory, I don't need to see a third one. Adesanya's just going to do the same thing again. But now that it's like, nah, these guys sparked each other, like, we have to see this again. Yes. But I think, oddly enough, what Adesanya did is historic, though, because like we were talking about it as early as or as recently as with Usman, as the guys who lose and come back, they just don't win. For whatever reason, especially in these weight classes where, like, outside of heavyweight, outside of these guys just don't come back and get their belts. And Izzy was very strange in the lead up, saying very weird stuff, more so than the whole, like, he's on, well, oh, fuck it, I'll do a fucking he did that city kick. That's like gonna be their thing now.
The rehydration
like,
thing.
Fucking IV. Yes, bitch. God damn, dude. Your titty is out again. You have a fucking goddamn Serrano chili nipple, and you're fucking saying this guy is doing, like, please. Did you see his titty was out again? Just out again, dude. It's like, dude, we know what you're doing. Like, that's not weed, dude.
It looked normal to me. I didn't see anything.
As a guy who's got 2 titties on me, I know a steroid titty. And come on, dude, please.
So we'll see how it all plays out. Let's talk about what you were talking about a little bit earlier, the DDP call out. There's mention of him. He's I liked that too. I'm here for it. I mean, he hasn't
racism.
He hasn't.
Imagine if DDP was like, these guys aren't like, imagine if he was going out again. We were talking a little earlier before, hopefully it's not recorded, we were talking a little earlier about, like,
it's not recorded,
racism, and like, yeah, great, thank God. We're talking about, like,
you were talking about.
I was you were there, like, kind of open-eyed and, like, couldn't believe what I was saying, but, like, I just like the reverse the roles. Do you know what I'm saying? And like, kind of put what they're saying about him in his, have him say that. There, dude, it would be outrage, dude. It would be and then he's just like, I'll fight you. Like, what do you want me to, like, what the hell, dude? It's crazy. I don't understand this at all. With Usman and now Adesanya, it's very strange. I don't get it. I don't know why we have to have that conversation. It's like professional. They're like a professional victim, you know? It's just like, dude, I don't understand.
I don't know if I'm getting the angle though, like about the idea of like reversing it, because to me, I feel like DDP is doing that right now. He is reversing it, and that's why it's getting all the attention that it's getting. It's like the white African guy saying, "I'm the real African. You're not African. You live in New Zealand now." Like, I think that's an example of reversing it.
He wasn't looking for it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't. You know, what's he supposed to do? He's like at home watching the fight, and then you got to have. How did this go down? The thing with Usman kind of was, to me, kind of out of nowhere, I think.
I'm not aware of what Usman thing are you talking about?
Kamaru Usman. Remember, Kamaru was saying that about. We were saying like Dricus should fight Usman, like on the he was saying all that shit about he's not a real African and all the crazy shit that they said.
Well, I don't think it was necessarily directed at Usman specifically. It was just directed at the whole idea about like because in a scrum they were asking him what he thought about the fact that there were 3 African champions. And he's from Africa, so that's a relevant question for him. His retort was, "What African champions?" Two of those belts went to the States. One of them went to New Zealand. I don't see any African champions. I live here in Africa. And I forgot the other neighbor, South African fighter that he named.
Cody Simon.
Yeah, so he's like, me and him, we wake up in Africa, we train in Africa, we breathe the African air. We are the true African fighters in the UFC, you know? Hands. Yeah. So I think in a way, like what you were mentioning about like, well, what if it was the reverse? I think what DDP is doing is actually the reverse of it.
No, okay, fair. You see, you put the context behind it for me, because I was coming into it as like, why are these guys so fucking mad? But now you put the context into it for me. Thank you. Yeah. So it is now, but I still don't care. I still think he's right.
I think he has a point too, to be honest. And I think it's audacious. It's like, dude, on paper it looks very ridiculous. It's like, dude, you're talking about these 3 black guys, and at least 2 of them were I think all 3 of them were born in Africa. But that is, I think it's the perfect angle for him to talk himself into a fight with Adesanya, because I think
he's got Usman and Adesanya like talking about him. That's very smart, dude. This guy is marketing genius.
And now he can breathe through his nose.
Elon Musk was saying that same thing. Like, he's like, I'm the richest African American. Like, and they're like, who's Oprah? I'm the richest African American. And then they're like, what are you talking about? And then he's like, yeah, I'm the richest African American.
People are like, stop it. Stop saying that.
And he's like, no, I am. I'm an African American man. And they're just like, dude, calm down.
So that's crazy. And let's talk about if we have an appetite for that fight. That's my word of the day, by the way. Appetite for fights. DDP, he hasn't earned it yet, though. In terms of the guys that he's fought,
I'd rather see him fight Usman.
I would be down for that. Right now, that since more recently, Adesanya was talking about him in his post-fight scrum, because Adesanya, I don't know how much of it you watch, or if you've seen you must have seen the posts on social media where he's saying I don't even want to give this motherfucker clout, but if he keeps doing work, I want to drag his carcass all over South Africa. I would like to see DDP fight Marvin Vettori, maybe. Vittori's on a good little streak right now. In fact, I
think Duplessis could beat Adesanya. I think he could.
Even Jared Cannonier, dude, and give him Duplessis versus Cannonier.
I agree with you saying he needs to climb the mountain. Yes, he fucking does.
One very relevant win. Yeah.
Yeah. If he can spark Marvin and just like knock him the fuck out, then yeah. Okay.
Or
this is so weird that Robert Whittaker is just like the best fighter, one of the best fighters in the world, and he's just there like, dude, I'm here, guys. Like, what's going on?
That's what happens when you lose twice to the champ. I mean, but it's funny though, because like we say that, and we just finished talking about Max Holloway a bit ago, and he earned his third shot.
They're kind of in the same.
They're kind of the same kind of
same guy. 1A, 1B, like baby Whitaker.
But it's just they're trying to put other guys over, and so they're not giving Whitaker the shot to fight the up and coming guys and earn it. They kind of want to wait and see how it plays out or something like that. But hey, Robert Whitaker versus I'd be down for Robert Whitaker versus DDP. Also, I'm not nearly as confident in DDP to win that fight at all, though. I'm picking Robert Whitaker in that fight.
Yes, 5 times out of 5, I pick Robert Whitaker in that fight.
DDP versus Paulo Costa.
There it is. But it's Costa and Hamza.
Shemaev, yeah. Which is a fun fight too. But anyways, let's move on to this co-main event. Gilbert Burns, excuse me.
I picked this one again. Don't give it to me.
So
I think you picked Gilbert too, right?
Yeah, there's no way I was going to pick George. Gilbert Burns retires a bozo. No.
Yeah.
Gilbert Burns retires journeyman George. I don't have a whole ton of respect for George Masvidal, but props to him. He's been in the game for a long time. He's
it's his politics that you don't like.
Close to 50 I mean, it's just it's such a dumb thing to hang your hat on in MMA, because Colby at least figured out how to turn that into a gimmick. George Masvidal is just over here with his fucking mouth full of dick, and it never really got him anywhere in MMA. Like, he never really was able to successfully use it to kind of catapult his MMA career in any substantial way. Instead, he just kind of is being a simp, and I think it's just kind of weird to like. I know I shit on Colby Covington a lot, but hey, props for at least being able to use that to market yourself as a fighter and get something out of it. Otherwise, it's just you're always going to be the weirdest person in the room when you like inject politics into everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And George just fumbled it so hard, but I mean, hey, if it opens up opportunities for him, he's going to be doing a lot of business in Miami.
I can respect
moving forward,
because I have an uncle who's a Cuban. He's a Cuban man he was born in Cuba. His family came over very similarly to Jorge Masvidal. They fled communism. He made something of himself. He's a doctor. He's very, very just a great guy, great man. And I would guess that he's pretty conservative. Like, he's like, I just don't like communism, dude. And I really want to keep what I made for myself here, but he's not like, he's just like, he'll just chill, and like he comes to the parties, and like, conversations will go this way or that way, and he just doesn't have to be like, well,
where's his straw hat?
Yeah, where you feel like a guy like Masvidal, just like every other word out of his mouth, it's like own the libs, and then like that gets exhausting.
It does. It really does. It's like, dude, everything guy. It's like what Tito's like. Tito's way worse though. Like Tito is. I mean, Tito. That's CTE already talking.
It's very and this also goes to and I will say this. It's not like every leftist Democratic person is an intellectual.
No, not at all.
It goes the same way too, where they're just like, oh my God, you blah, blah, blah. You get this whole the Bernie bro type people where you can tell they're just so vapid, and they're just saying what they need to say because it's the mainstream narrative.
Yeah,
it's just like, hey guys, if you're not Ron DeSantis or if you're not Bernie Sanders, how about not make everything about it? Because you guys aren't doing anything to like further the conversation. So why don't we just, hey, you're conservative, hey, you're a liberal person, awesome, that's fucking great, go beat the shit out of the Brazilian guy on Saturday. Like, just worry about that, dude. Just like worry about that.
And that's why I said, like, any guy or person in the room who's just constantly bringing it up on either side. I should have specified on either side. It just gets insufferable. And it's like, hey, dude, like every single time we talk, you bring it up, but hey, at the end of the day, you're gonna wake up tomorrow and you're still a forklift driver. Or you're still this.
It's like, what really kills it's really killing our country is the identity politics. it got what happened with the gentleman that Masvidal's so fond of to happen. And then it had the pendulum swing so far to the other side where it's like, dude, let's just let those people figure that out. And if there wasn't such a crazy fucking reaction to every little thing the other side does, life would be so much better. But you guys have to make it about that. And with, at least like you said, at least Kobe's getting paid for it. I feel like it's just grifters. I don't like grifters on either side. And like, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure Masvidal's going to get into that, like selling gold coins, like Moss coins, like buy your liberty freedom coin. And it's like his tattoo is like embedded on a fucking gold coin. And you're seeing like, it's right after the My Pillow fucking commercial. You know what I mean? It's like, just take it easy.
Yeah. And the grifts on the other side, they may look a little bit different, but they're there too, though, man. Yeah. It's just, yeah. But let's talk about the fight, I guess. Gil Burns, how did you score it, by the way? Because I had it 29-28 for Gilbert, but now I'm looking back on it, and I'm not super confident that George won any of the rounds, and not for any of the reasons that I was just shitting on George for, but it really felt like this was a pretty unanimous one for him. Did you think that George, I don't remember how our breakdown went or what your thoughts about it were. Did you think that Gilbert Burns was going to steamroll him?
My exact words were, there is no chance in hell that Jorge Masvidal wins this fight in any part of the fight. Mm-hmm. Mentally, physically, talent wise.
I remember now. Yeah.
Every part. And I was so surprised. I was extremely surprised by a lot of, not just podcasters or like people in our space that like you and I, not in our space like that as we're like neck and neck with them, but meaning people that we both like listen to or like take I guess I don't want to say, I'm just trying to choose my words like the right way. Like, it's people that I respect their opinions.
Yeah.
They really thought Masvidal had any kind of chance. And I just like, how do you not see, like, Masvidal's lucky that it didn't go worse. It went almost exactly like I said it would, which I'm not patting myself on the back, but I thought it was just so clear that was what was going to happen. It's just like, that was the obvious way to go. How did you guys think Masvidal had any chance?
I kind of slipped into a bit of that. I was listening to a lot of our contemporaries talking about like how if this fight stays on the feet, George is a live dog. He has every chance in the world if it stays on the feet. George can win a striking battle, and I just kept hearing it so much from so many different outlets that I started to think to myself, like, I mean, I guess yes, I sort of, if he could, like the best version of George we've ever seen, maybe, yeah. I think like the version of George Masvidal who fought Nate Diaz, maybe. You know, that guy looked incredibly sharp, and he was really on point with his body kicks and everything, and he looked like he was still hungry for it. But this version of George that came in here, I guess we could say George, if he really did retire and leave his gloves in the cage, because I guess it wasn't entirely clear to people that he was 100% retired. He didn't come out and actually say I'm retired. But if he is retired, I think he chose the right time to do it, because at least according to a lot of the other talking heads in this space who thought that this shouldn't have been like a 80-20 split of a fight. Like, it should have been closer to a pick 'em. Like, definitely not a pick 'em. How much
of that has to do with, and I'm just thinking about this now, so it may not be the most educated take to have, but those guys that we do respect their opinion so much on, I know one of them doesn't take that ad money, and I think you and I both like him, but one guy I know does, and almost every other word out of his mouth on his breakdowns he does. How much of the betting aspect where they're taking money where they like, it really would have helped their sponsors is for people to bet on Masvidal? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I see what yeah. I never thought about that, but that I could see that.
Yeah. Let's just call it what it is. The weasel, every other fucking word out of his mouth is like mybookie.ag, mybookie.ag, mybookie.ag. Jorge Masvidal is a live dog here, guys. If the fight stays up and he's wrestling takedown and he's like almost like, guys, bet on Masvidal. Guys, bet on Masvidal. Yeah. So it's like, hey, dude, relax.
Yeah, no, I could see there being some correlation there. I think what I also get a lot from some of the other media people who I listen to who cover the sport, I feel like there's this phenomenon that happens with them where they get so into the idea that they know how the UFC makes its decisions that they actually start to kind of apply that reasoning to the matchmaking. For example, like they'll make a lot, like you and I can sit here and talk about the idea that, you know, George Masvidal probably would have been in title contention if he had managed to get the W over Gilbert Burns, and we both know that makes zero fucking sense in the world, and that's just the stupidest shit, and we're not going to sit here and pretend that it's not the case. But I hear a lot of other media will sit and justify it, and they start off like they're not stupid, is what I'm saying. They know it's not right, but they get so used to being like, you know, that's how the UFC does its business, that they actually start to think like the UFC. And it's something that I've kind of criticized like fans on social media for, is that they get so caught up in thinking about like, well, I mean, because this fight would sell, and you've heard me say it before, what the fuck do you care that it would sell? You are the viewer, like you are not making any money off of it. But I feel like some of that tends, like,
they're not sitting next to Dana with a monitor. They're not sitting next to Dana watching the Caleb Plant fight instead of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So I could understand where, you know, commenters on social media or you know, I don't want to say casual fans, because I mean, I feel like that's very dismissive, but I think it's kind of weird when I hear that happening with media members who start to kind of just like, who aren't even like who don't excuse all of the decision making of the UFC, but in this particular matchup, like we're covering it, I feel like there was quite a bit of that where they were kind of going a little too far out of their way to justify this matchup, or not necessarily justify this matchup. I think this is a good matchup. I think this is the fight that I wanted for Gilbert Burns, and I'm glad it finally happened, because he was trying to get it for a while. But the idea that George is still a live dog in this division, or is going to establish himself as a contender and potentially usurp Colby Covington in terms of being the number one contender, like, come on, that's fucking nonsense, guys. Gilbert Burns, I did think he was possibly going to get it done in the third round. Like, he was finding a home for that right hand, and I was a little bit surprised at how much success he was having on the feet. Not that I thought that like that was going to be where George Masvidal was going to get, you know, be able to win the fight necessarily, but I didn't think that it was going to be as close to a finish as it was on the stand-up with George there. What did you think about Gilbert Burns' comments after the fight, in the post-fight scrum? He said, He flat out came out and said, make me the backup fight for Covington versus Leon, or let me go.
Cut me.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I was also surprised, because it was so funny, because I didn't watch Dana's response. I like to watch Dana as much as I don't. Like, you and I both, he is who he is, whatever, okay? But he's very telling, you know what I mean? He tells you what's going to happen, whether people listen to him and believe him or know how to speak Dana. Like, he tells you what's going to happen. He's not like an out and out liar, you know what I mean? You may not agree with what he's saying, but he'll say in so many words what he feels, and it basically happens.
Yeah,
I didn't watch that portion.
You want current MMA news? You should listen to Dana's post-fight scrums.
What Dana says, yeah, because it's pretty much what's going to happen. And a lot of people like to make their own spin on it, and then get so like, oh my god, how did that happen? Like, dude, Dana said it. He had 3 pay-per-views ago, dude. In his post-fight, he said that's the fight to make. That's what they're going to do. That's why. Yeah. Shut the fuck up. That's why I think what he said about Pereira moving up is like probably going to happen. Like, if Dana goes, that's what we're going to do. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll listen to you, because more than likely that happens. Sometimes it doesn't, and like the world kind of turns different. Guys get injured, things happen, but for the most part, it is what it is. A lot of people were saying like, oh yeah, you want to find out? You don't want to play this game with Dana. You don't want to play this game. And then I go back and watch the post fight, and Dana's like, I like that. I like when guys do that. Mm-hmm. That's great. He's right. He's fucking right. And it's like, yeah, he is. Like, you just said, if Masvidal beats Gilbert, he gets the title. Well, Gilbert's Gilbert. So what the fuck? Why doesn't he get it? Yeah. You know what I mean? He's actually Gilbert Burns. So like, you know what I mean? It's like so easy, but like you get the aerials, you get the, oh man, dude, I don't know. YouTube fucking did me dirty today. I was watching the MMA On Point, which they do really good. And they were just talking about like, dude, but like Colby and Masvidal are like forced on you. They're just forced on you, like the most forced on you fighters ever. And then the algorithm switch, and I'm like cooking, so it like I didn't have a chance to change it. And then they put on was it Weighing In with Stephen Thompson and what's his name, Big John McCarthy. That is dog shit. They are just like nails on a chalkboard, dude. I can't.
Big John is a rough listen. I mean, I respect him for being like one of the most legendary officiating personnel in the sport, but he's not the guy to listen to, man. Oh yeah,
it is a rough. That is a rough. However long they do that, I was just like my eyes hurt, dude. Like, it's pretty crazy. But I guess maybe because it's just like you would think he would know more. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not even his presentation I have a problem with. It's just like, what are you saying? Those are words, but that doesn't make sense. Like, those are words that you just used.
Interesting. I've never listened to his podcast with Stephen Thompson. So
Stephen Thompson looks weird as hell down. He's weird. They're just weird as hell. Both of them could fucking bend my windpipe with their thumb.
Yes. Yeah.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Not trying to say that, guys. Like, don't want that smoke, boys. But I'm saying,
not me though. They can't do it.
No, not me.
So I didn't know that his takes are particularly bad. For me, it is actually all his delivery. But I only hear him on Bellator shows whenever I watch Bellator. So.
I wasn't listening to his delivery though. I was like in my kitchen in the across the hall listening to the words, and I was like, that's a whole sentence and none of it together makes any kind of sense, dude. What are you talking about?
This is our haterade episode. We're just going off on people we don't like.
Dude, that's the way to get traction,
started with the J's.
It's a long way to the top, dude. If you want to rock and roll, bro, you got to do this shit, dude. I'm fucking coming after you. Like, I would pull that Booker T shit, dude. Hulk Hogan, he coming after you.
Just all awkward and shit, and you turn around and I have to finish the promo. Let's transition go on.
But it's just like your take on it was like, and everyone's take was like, if Masvidal can beat a guy like Gilbert Burns, he deserves a title fight. Mm-hmm. Gilbert Burns is Gilbert Burns, dude. Mm-hmm. And he, like, the guy who like everyone says is like Candyman or whatever, Hamzat, he took him to like, I guarantee you, like, there won't be a fight like that with Hamzat Chimaev again.
Oh,
he
good point.
Won't have that fight again.
Yeah,
won't be. when Hamzat's the champ, because he's going to be the champ, and everyone's like, dude, but Gilbert Burns gave it to him. You remember that?
Gilbert Burns put the screws to him. Well, and that wasn't even a 5-round fight either, right?
No,
that was only 3 rounds. 3 rounds of carnage. If we saw a 4th or a 5th round, the fight could have gone another way.
Yeah, it could have gone way different. So, yeah, man. I mean, Gilbert's Gilbert.
Gilbert is Gilbert, dude. That is going to be the title of this episode. Don't let me forget. It's going to be Gilbert.
Dude. But it's true, dude. Like,
he's him.
Yeah, that's like, hey, how about the guy you said would be the guy that propels the guy that would beat him to the top? Well, he's him.
Yeah.
So, and he's great, dude. He's just great. Everywhere his training looks so crazy. I don't like to get too hyped off watching like training highlights where it's kind of like cutaways of the guys doing things, because it's not really indicative of what, they could just be shining it up for the cameras. He looks like he fucking goes hard as hell, because it totally correlates to his performance on Saturday nights. And his brother Herbert on the other side.
No, to what you were saying though about like watching people's training highlights and stuff too, because like oftentimes they're very cut up. You could tell they brought in some professional guy with a camera, and Gil Burns, his coach will upload a video of him doing an entire circuit and just killing the thing. So if you want if anybody listening wants some motivation, like go watch Gilbert Burns kill himself in the gym. And not a lot of people will really let you peek behind the veil and see how hard they go in the gym like that. And you can see little glimpses of it with other fighters. They like to have the footage of them like just elbowing the grappling dummy into oblivion and stuff like that. But when you see a guy go
Connor doing the windmill arms.
Okay. I wanted to touch on this Rob Font Adrian Yanez fight.
Yeah, this man, Yanez, I think.
I definitely picked Yanez, but I also wasn't shocked though, because we mentioned like the vast difference in competition and that Rob Font has faced. But man, for as short as this fight was, it was super entertaining. I really wish that it would have gone on a little bit longer, but props to Rob Font for getting it done like that. It was really kind of funny because I'm watching it thinking like, son of a bitch, all it took was a collar tie, because I had the idea like, oh, that's nice head movement you got there, Adrian Yanez. Would be a shame if somebody grabbed your fucking neck and just kept it in place and hit you with a right
here.
Exactly. So man, tough hang for Adrian Yanez in this one. I think it's the first time he's been finished in his career. He's 16-4 now, but let me take a peek to see if he's been finished before. No, yeah, first KO loss of his career. And I was listening to some of the interviews and or some of the testimonials that Adrian Yanez did after this fight, and he really seems like he's internalizing a lot of it and not making any excuses whatsoever. So I like that. He seems to have a good mentality about it. So I think we're gonna see him grow, and this isn't like a big fall off or a fall from grace for him. I think he's gonna stick around in the bantamweight division, at least in terms of how he's handling this mentally. I do think he needs to round out his game still, though. I mean, this is like a great fight for him, a great like boxer versus boxer matchup. Like I said, mentally he's doing well, and I think it's a good sign. But I would like to see him expand on his grappling and his wrestling acumen, especially if he's going to want to crack that top 5 of bantamweight. That's going to be absolutely imperative. But Font kind of like, reestablishes himself as a guy who firmly belongs in that top 5, top 7 range. I think that he was on a tough run before this. I'm totally stalling for time because I lost my page where I had the records up.
For me, like the thing that I just had no clue. I just did not have any, and shame on me for not, because Rob Font is a very good, he's a very good technical boxer. One of the best that we have. An example of someone who works behind his jab, really is comfortable in the pocket. and I mean, he can take damage and continue to go forward. I just didn't. I thought taking a year off after some back-to-back beatings that he took, it was rough sell for me to think that a guy like, and I just felt like Giannis was the guy that was going to make that happen, and it's just pretty. It was eye-opening to me, for sure. And shame on me for not giving him Rob Font more respect in this situation.
Yeah, shame on you. No, no, I don't think there's any shame there. But let me see. And I thought that it was the fucking wrong tab again, dude. I apologize. Where is my page with both of them on it? I was going to compare their age.
Who had a real good collar tie? Like DC had a good one, right? DC used it really well. Anderson could do it pretty good, but he kind of stayed back.
Yeah, Anderson had like the tie plum that he would use a lot back in the day, which he never really he kind of got away from as the game kind of expanded. I think it's very situational because it's kind of interesting when you think about like the phases of MMA and the things that were really hot and that have just gone away. Like me and Mike were talking about it before, like in grappling, how things come and go. And like back in the day when like Eddie Bravo's system was like the 10th planet jiu-jitsu stuff, like nobody's doing fucking rubber guard anymore,
dead orchard and shit, or
mission control and stuff. Like people figure it out, and then just as fast as it got popular, it's also becomes obsolete. And I think that like the tie plum, or the traditional tie plum that Anderson would do, like went the way of the dodo, just kind of became super obsolete. But as far as like a strict, like a collar tie, hell, I want to put some respect on Tim Bosch's name. I don't know.
Rich Franklin, maybe Rich Ace Franklin, maybe that was back in the day. The pet detective, he used to do good. Gaethje gets in there in the clinch. He can get in there, get violent with the clinch sometimes.
Chris Lieben, I remember.
Oh, damn.
And he put out Vanderlei Silva. And that was also an example because Vanderlei was desperately trying to hold on to the tie plum. And Chris Lieben was like, well, you do that. I'll just hold on with one arm and uppercut you to death. Yeah. So, yeah, I can't think of fighters who are specifically known for it as much as I could just think of like instances where fighters have used it. But, yeah.
Oliveira? Charles Oliveira? But who knows? Can we talk about how Kevin Gastelum made me cry?
Yeah, we could talk about that. I was going to talk about also how Raul Rosas Jr. got totally derailed.
Him, dude.
There's not that much to say about that. As I just think it's. Let's talk about Kelvin Gastelum though.
Dude, I was so hyped up watching his mannerisms in that post fight. Because Curtis too, dude. You got to give Chris Curtis, like, the action man was getting down. Yeah, that was a good fight. There's no losers in that fight. And I was reading today that Curtis, I guess he had like retired 3 times before he got to the UFC. He was just like, I'm never gonna make it.
Oh shit.
He was just like so like tired of it, training and everything, gone through a lot in the regional up and downs and stuff. And I guess like there was a few different situations where he was close, or like a guy who represented the MMA or UFC was going to come and watch his fight, and then like got caught up in traffic, or I can't, and like missed his fight, like talent scouts and stuff, and like his chance to like move up was just never there. So it was just always kind of like, oh, we'll watch the tape and then we'll let you know. And so he's done really good for himself, recently, and this was an amazing fight. And so hopefully he can really build off of it. I know he got a bonus, right? The fight of the night bonus.
Fight of the night, yep.
But for Kelvin Gastelum, and like he was talking about it today too on his Instagram, where it was just like just so many medical setbacks, so many things. Like I was just dealing with like so much stuff, and it was been over a year, and he's like, I know I can fight. And like I guess he was going back and watching himself fight, and he's like, that's not me, man. Like, what the fuck? And he just came out and put it all together. He looked amazing, man. He looked great. I was so proud of him. He looks like sorry to do this, but he looks like dudes we kick it with. You know what I mean? Like, I have friends that look exactly like Kelvin Gastelum, dude.
Yeah,
I have friends with that similar background experience that he has in his life. So just to like see that, it's just like, damn, dude, you fucking did it, dog. You know, like, congratulations to you, man.
Yeah, with the record that he had compiled over his last few, like you mentioned, all of the canceled bouts. I mean, this guy, and this is a guy who, he must be in good graces with the UFC. And I don't say that in a bad way, like, oh, this fucking guy gets special treatment or anything like that. But they've always matched him up with very relevant fights, and then he earned it too, because, you know, for a while, pretty much up until Jan Blachowicz, which wasn't even in the same weight class, he was the guy who gave Israel Adesanya his toughest fight by far. Like, he was going into that 5th round of that fight, like, it was still anybody's fight. So big props to him, but he really fell off after that, with losses to Darren Till, Jack Hermanson, Whitaker, Cannonier. All great names, all the top of the division.
Woodley, I mean, he's fought fucking Nate Marquardt. Jesus Christ, dude.
He was scheduled. He's fought Chris Weidman, Michael Bisping, and that, I think that was kind of his arrival right there when he knocked out Michael Bisping. But oh no,
lost
my fucking
to
screen.
Neil Magny. He beat Johnny Hendricks. Johnny Hendricks basically beat GSP, right?
Yes. Basically. Sorry, I'm refreshing my secondary screen.
Am I reading this correct?
And when you look at the people who he was scheduled against, also all the relevant names, also too, George Masvidal, Anderson Silva, Nasruddin Imavov, Dricus Du Plessis. Yeah, he's given every opportunity, and it must have been extra tough for him to feel like it was really slipping away, and he was potentially one loss away from being Bellator or PFL's next big signing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I remember seeing him in The Ultimate Fighter. Like, I remember that was like one of the years, like, I kind of like, after, like, I think it was like, what, 2012 is that's when I like stopped watching. I was just like, I don't want to watch this shit anymore. But yeah, he just really, I guess, just like a Mexican American, like a hardworking ass motherfucker who's like, life has kicked him in the balls too, you know what I mean? And his like, it's just like, dang, dude, I know you, dude. I don't know you at all. I'm not trying to like project onto you, but like, thank you, dude. Like, that felt good to see him do that. And I watched it, and I didn't get a chance to watch this live. I think I told you, like, came home, I fucking was watching the prelims, put the steaks in the sous vide. I was like, dude, these are gonna be ready right for the Rosas fight. I'm gonna sear them off. This is gonna be sick. And then my girl's like getting ready, and I'm like, I wonder where she's going. She's like, you're not getting ready yet? And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, we got that birthday party. And then I was just like, fucking motherfucker, dude. Oh my god.
Rough.
The worst.
Well, we can start rounding third and heading home and putting a cap on this one. Let's say I will give you a little challenge before we go, because we don't.
Okay.
I mean, the Raul Rosas thing. Hey, big egg in the UFC's face for just being like, he's 18, guys.
Yeah, Kevin Holland with another weird ass fucking knockout. Just a weird motherfucker. That, you see that guy put his finger in his ass to get a picture with him?
I did. Yeah, I didn't. I do kind of really wonder. Dude? I really wonder what happened exactly. Movie, yeah. Speaking about that knockout though, like, Kevin Holland really establishing himself as a guy who, excuse me. Fuck.
Bless you.
I should have paused it. Damn it. Now I got that fucking sneeze in the recording. Kevin has kind of like moved into a space where I feel like wins and losses don't really matter for Kevin anymore. Not that they don't matter to him. I'm sure he'd still like to win, but in terms of how the UFC is able to use him and book him, like, I think he's kind of over to the point with the fans right now where they're just like, just give us this guy. We don't care if he wins or loses. It's always entertaining either way. Like his previous fight with Wonder Boy, I mean, that was one-sided of a beatdown as it gets. And it was super fucking exciting. It was a really fun fight. And he was just getting his ass kicked. And props too, because
he took a loss like a fucking man. Like that's how you take a loss.
Yeah, absolutely. Very engaging with fans also. So I think that's
they engage him. Yeah.
So that's also a feather in his cap there. And I believe he broke his hand in this fight again, or re-broke it. It was the same hand that was broken in that Wonder Boy Thompson fight. And I was telling Mike, dude, we weren't watching the fights together, but we would just message each other while they're going on. And I just think, like, dude, how fucking tough are fighters, dude? Because the moment I break a hand in a fight, I'm just like, dude, I'm done. Like, this is like, I don't have. Yeah, I'm not built that way to be like, I'm literally one-handed now, and I'm going to still find a way to win this fight. So, in the breakdown of, like, I haven't brought this up in a while about, like, the whole idea of, like, you know, what aspects of a fighter, what attributes a fighter has in terms of being, like, a fighter, an athlete, a mixed martial artist. Kevin Holland, 100% a fucking fighter, dude, all the way. And there's big value in that, because I think the guys who are complete,
he's crazy though. He's crazy. Like, he retired, right? He like went after Hamza Chimaev, all fucking crazy. He fucking gets fingered in his ass. He was gonna fight Jorge Masvidal. Like, whoa, dude, you're crazy. He knocked out fucking Jacare off his back. What the fuck?
About that whole breakdown, the fighter, athlete, martial artist thing. Yeah. Would you agree that the guys or the people who are completely 100% in the fighter category, as unbalanced as that might be, you know, as much as, you know, if you're their coach, you would really covet a fighter of having the perfect mix of all three. Do you think the guys who are completely in the fighter category make the most money in mixed martial arts in the end? Like, they tend to be or become the stars?
No, because you got like John Jones, you got George St. Pierre, you have
those are the greats. But then you got
you're
your,
like, okay, dude. Yeah, sure, thanks.
But then you also got the Michael Chandlers, you know.
Yeah, I get your point.
But then Michael Chandler's an athlete too. I can't say he's not an athlete. I guess
like world class wrestler, dude. Justin Gaethje's a world class wrestler. Kelvin Gastelum, who you would think is a fucking fighter, is a world class wrestler. Who was another like fight? Like a Bisping was like a fighter, right? He was just like a fighter.
Bisping was a fighter.
Was like a fighter. Just pulling out names now.
Another follow-up question to that I was thinking about, and like, specifically,
is Connor just a fighter? Yeah. Huh?
Okay, you've already mentioned three that I think are
okay. Stop.
No. Let me. No. Yeah. I was going to say you've already brought up three that were kind of like going to be to my next point, which is, do you think there's another category that we should add to that? And it's kind of an abstract one because it's not in terms of physicality, but showmanship. Bisping, Connor, Kevin Holland, there's that showmanship category there. And do you feel like if we're going to talk about like Masvidal, if we're going to talk about, you know, whether it's on the microphone, whether it's because of their antics, I think I think like Israel Adesanya, I mean, after that stunt he pulled, like mocking Alex Pereira's son, like,
did you see him? As ruthless as that is, background too all weird, and then his wife was like, "Whoa!" Like, what the? Pereira's wife was like, "Okay, what the hell?" Because like Pereira was definitely like still kind of like, "Golly, what the fuck," you know?
I don't know where I am, guy.
Yeah, and then like Adesanya gave him this like hug that was like, "Hey, whoa," and then his wife was in the back like, "Oh." Okay.
That
Thanks.
to me, that hug, that looked like a fucking thank you for not beating me again hug.
Yeah,
like I
dude,
think he was just really.
yeah.
I think I believe what he said, and right, like while he was still in the cage, like I hope everybody watching this right now gets to feel this joy, this level of joy at least once in their life.
I did resonate with what he said. I could not imagine what that feels like. Like I don't have any clue what that. I don't think I ever. I hope I can. I hope someday I can, you know, like I hope I can, like, you know, you and me are on Jerry and just like giving him the reverse Brendan Schaub. We're like, do you think you can really go toe to toe with Ariel right now, Joe? I think you'd be surprised. Like I hope we can like do that. That would be my version of it. What would be your version?
I don't
of the
know.
podcasting?
I was just thinking about what mine would be, and
what would yours be?
If we're talking in the podcasting realm.
Well, that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, what you laid out is really, really funny. So like it would be something along those lines. I never would have even imagined that though, like on the JRE.
Yeah. Just like, why do you still have Bert Kreischer on, Joe? Like, what are we doing here, Papa? Like, what are we fucking doing here?
Well, when you have to qualify every single story and tell people like, no, it's 100% true. I think it's safe to say that they're not at all true, dude. Like every single time, like, come on.
Yeah, come on, man. You're on steroids. He said it on one of his last. It just sucked. I'm not even gonna bring it up, but the name of the podcast. But he was saying like, I'm on tons of steroids. I'm on like a crazy stack right now, dude. And it's like,
Bert?
No, you're not. Yeah, Bert said that. He's like, I'm just juiced to the gills. And it's like, you're probably getting a small amount of testosterone, like hormone replacement therapy, dude. Calm down. You're not fucking Ronnie Coleman, dude. Mm-hmm. Relax.
No.
Well, so for me, like, I guess. Like, man,
for me it would be owning Luke Thomas on his own show.
Yeah. With
be
like
something like that.
Yeah, that would be cool. Dude, Luke, have us on, dude. I don't know. I couldn't even understand. I guess it would be for me now. It would be like watching my kids do that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like watching my son, like. Just like he has a dream and he goes after it and he fucking does it. Or like my daughter, like I've seen my daughter win in certain things. Like I remember watching her in like Muay Thai just like kick the shit out of this kid that was kicking the shit out of her for a year straight. This kid was kicking the shit out of her every Friday night on sparring, and she was like literally like working so hard. And then one Friday, I was actually a couple Fridays in a row, she like really put it to this girl, and like her trainer came and was like, dude, that was amazing, great job. And like in her face, she was just like, I fucking did it. I just did it. And that ride home, we're just like listening to the tires, and she was just so happy. And I was just like, dang, hell yeah, you fucking did that. Like that is so cool. But like that, I guess going through it like that with my kids would be like the only, like really all I have left on that. Or doing the reverse Brendan Schaub to Joe Rogan, where like kind of telling him he's washed.
I mean, on the familial side, I haven't even gotten started in that area, so I couldn't even come up with something comparable. But also one thing that did pop into my head, that's very touching, your story, by the way, but seeing your daughter like kind of like finally do the thing, you know, that she's been working on. For me, it would be like if we were listening to a Weasel breakdown and we hear him say something that we said first, like word for word. It's like he's parroting us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, dude, did not put it that way. Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. This is brought to you by mybookie.ag. Like right before he says that.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that would be, yeah. And he's done that.
I mean, it would be ridiculous. It'd be like, holy shit. I would obviously assume it was a coincidence, but I mean, that would be a big feather.
That would be my first thought. Would be like, oh, yeah.
For sure. All right, man. Well, let's put an end to that one. Folks, listeners, anybody who's still here with us, hope you enjoyed that episode. I hope you didn't get too full on all of our haterade, because I feel like there was a lot of us just...
I won't speak for Ephraim, but I will speak for myself and say I'm a fucking ruthless ass hater, like scandalous. I wake up, it drives me every day to like hate on people. Anyone that's doing better than me right now, fuck you, dude.
I'm a big hater too. Not even gonna lie or sugarcoat it.
I'm very good at it too. I'm very good at it.
Oh,
so.
they've heard you talk about other football teams and stuff. Yeah,
I'm very good at it, dude. Fuck you.
Yeah, there's a very, very entertaining closing segment about the Dallas Cowboys where we got to see firsthand just how much of a hater you can be. Yeah. All right, folks. Thank you again for joining us on this episode of the Fight Plug podcast. If you like this episode, please consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, all that fun stuff. Blah blah blah. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.